By now, you've probably seen parts of Katie Britt's speech, or at least the SNL spoof. But let's dive into this messy ordeal to find out what made this such a spectacular disaster.
Good evening, America. My name is Katie Britt, and I have the honor of serving the people of the great state of Alabama in the United States Senate. However, that's not the job that matters most. I am a proud wife and mom of 2 school-aged kids.
The first thing I want to point out is her soft, breathy tone. You can find lots of people describing this as common in certain specific religious communities. You can see Jess Piper, Tia Levings, and countless others now who have written about this, sometimes describing it as the fundy baby voice.
But why does she sound this way?
Other families have a lot of similar goals in training their children.
We're also brought into what's supposed to be her kitchen. Charlie Kirk, who is certainly no friend of Biden, even said it was like she was hosting a cooking show. I mean, what is her target audience, and what message is she sending by positioning herself in the kitchen? The implications are demeaning and patronizing to audience members. So then her tone shifts quite drastically.
That's where I spoke to a woman who shared her story with me. She had been sex trafficked by the cartels starting at the age of 12. She told me not just that she was raped every day, but how many times a day she was raped.
This went way too far for a mainstream broadcast. It was too graphic of an account for a speech which is meant to be for a universal general audience, in a way that didn't fit the setting of this speech as a State of the Union response. Adding to that, she had these confusing dramatic shifts from indignation to smirking and smiling all in the same breath. This mismatch between her body language and what she's saying is why this feels so artificial and insincere. It feels fake.
The cartels put her on a mattress in a shoebox of a room.
Worst of all, this was clearly implying blame on Biden, when it's now been widely pointed out, but first by Jonathan Katz on TikTok.
This is Carla Jacinto Romero's testimony to Congress from 2015 about her experiences in Mexico. And if you scroll down, you see it took place between 2004 and 2008.
That this specific case occurred outside the US, and it was long before Biden was president. It had nothing to do with him. But you have to get your facts right, and you have to stick to your theme if you're going to make such an important address to the American people. So this really cut against her credibility and her character as a speaker. But she went on to discuss the economy, crime, and to place further blame and attacks on Biden. But then, as we get towards the end, things take a confusing turn.
We are steeped in the blood of patriots who overthrew the most powerful empire in the world. We walk in the footsteps of pioneers who tamed the wild. And when we gaze upon the heavens, never forget that our DNA contains the same ingenuity that put man on the moon. Because America, we don't just have a rendezvous with destiny. We take destiny's hand and we lead it. Our future starts around kitchen tables just like this, with moms and dads just like you. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless these United States of America.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
In what seems like an attempt to appeal to patriotism, traditionalism, and national pride with the use of this evocative language, it felt all over the place. It doesn't seem to fit in with the rest of her message and just feels so disjointed. Like, what's the point, really? Now, we can't simply let Katie Britt take all the blame here. Surely, there's a team of people that put this whole thing together. Someone signed off on the script, on it being staged in the kitchen, on the over-the-top delivery. This was a failure on so many levels, it's hard to fathom. When writing such an important speech, you'd think they could put together a more coherent message. Like, who's the intended audience here, really, and what were they thinking? If I had to grade this speech, I'd give it a D+, with bonus points for the dramatic flair. You can't deny this was quite the spectacle to behold. In some ways, it even seemed to have upstaged Joe Biden's speech because now everybody's talking about how wild and wacky this single speech was. But what did you think about the State of the Union response? Am I being too hard or not hard enough? Let me know, and I'll see you next time.